Persistence is the name of the game in this state. Some people will say that, you know, we shouldn't be realistic about our message when we recruit candidates. I have found that when we go out and talk about integrity and honesty, we better be that with our candidates. Because if we're blowing smoke, we deserve to get the kick-in we're going to get. So with that, I just appreciate all that you've all done, because when we talk about the heroes that are candidates and our party officers, and you know, we've had Luke Shirtliff up here for so long, and I want to end by one thing by talking what I think is the most important thing we can do as a party. Mark's talked about the nonpartisan nature of this. The first speech I made as state party, a candidate for state party chair, was about the gerrymandered mess. The Republican Party had put $10 million nationally, the RNC, Republican National Committee, in the late 1990s, $10 million into computer programs to look at the entire country. Karl Rove at the time was brainstorming about the permanent majority of the Republican Party. The first place they tested those computer programs was in this state. Mark mentioned the Wall Street Journal. We all know that's hardly the voice of the liberal press. But when they call Utah the worst case in the nation's history of gerrymandering and power grab, we know we had a problem. And I'll make this point real clear. In 2006, recruited a lot of great candidates. Most of them came back in 2008, whether they were running for the same office or a different office. But in 2006, Marcy, I had Marcy has been just fantastic, working with the state party and on fair boundaries now. You all know Marcy, but we sat down after the election in 2006, saying, where do we go? We improved Democratic performance, one of the largest in the country at that time, and in 2008, we almost were the largest increase in Democratic preference. But we looked at what we did, and we looked at all of the races that where we had fielded candidates. In some areas in this state where we had not fielded Democrats in a quarter of a century, and we totaled all those votes up, and we had between 42, because we can do all of the great things that we've been doing for the first time in over a quarter of a century, the media will tell you that the Democratic message was the message of 2008. They were reacting to us. Just this morning, did you see the Tribune? James Evans was yakking about, tinfoil cap wearing James Evans, Salt Lake County Republican chair, was talking about the radio ads we ran, challenging them on ethics and some of the bribery activities that were going on. The very same reasons why we need redistricting and independent ethics commissions was our message. $50,000 in radio, $52,000 for the first time ever in cable TV. And the Republicans were reacting to our message because our message is right. And people are waking up. And it's not just in Utah. We talked about the western United States, but watch us. Watch the surrounding states because that's the direction we're going. The demographics are almost identical. The change in the population, the diversity of our ethnic makeup, almost identical to Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Idaho even, and Nevada. And we're going to win those elections. We're going to win them. We're going to continue to win like we have the last two cycles because of the people in this room today. This is where on an April morning, every odd-numbered year, where we don't get quite the attendance we'll get next year, where we all come together. And it reminds me, I saw a photo the other day in the special edition of Rolling Stone magazine, Barack Obama's first visits to Iowa. Crowd about it. Not much bigger than this crowd. But people grabbed onto that message and say, yeah, there is hope. There is hope that we can be part of a historic election. And I am so proud of this president. And I'm even more proud that Utah, when I went to Washington 3 weeks ago, Utah was mentioned by Governor Kane, the new DNC chair, as delivering the most volunteers to a battleground state as a percentage of the overall volunteers than anywhere else in the nation. That was our young people that we were recruiting and running through the state office. With a YD program, our Young Democratic program, our Young Democrats program, is talked about by the Young Democrats of America as one of the most vital and innovative groups in the country today. And that's because the state party, in partnership with the YDs and Salt Lake County, got active and made sure they had the resources to get their matches. But I'll go back to this. Nothing changes without the people in this room today. It's you guys. Show up on an April morning, and you know it's not sunny like we thought it might be. Maybe we'd have gained a few or lost a few. But we know that talking to our neighbors and going out and working with these candidates and and walking. I did a lot of walking. I had to go feel what it was like in those legislative races where we won 3 House races and a Senate race, where we own now everything from Holiday to Draper, in an area where 10 years ago our best Democratic candidates couldn't even get 35% of the vote. We now won all 3 of those House races and the Senate race with great candidates. There's no more fertile ground in this state than where we're at today. And I pledge to you that we know that the leadership that LaFrey has brought to the party, and that Steve, now the team will be together, is going to reverse roles, and your other county leaders, along with great candidates, we're going to make Weaver County blue again. It should be blue. It should have always been blue. It's going to be blue.